is happening, Magnus sites? Make sure you follow Cosmic Wonder. He be getting all the scoops on the Easter eggs and the breakdowns of Marvel trailers. Let's get this shit.
What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and MCU. And today we have our very last, apparently, Eternals trailer, titled The Final Trailer. Now, I'm pretty sure we're going to get like 1 billion TV spots after this, so no worries about that. And I'm sure we'll get 2 billion more before we actually get the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Yeah. But in the meantime, let's talk about this pretty epic Eternals trailer. In this Eternals trailer, we actually get a few questions that we've been having for a long time now answered. Like, when does this exactly take place? After the blip? Before the blip? Why didn't the Eternals ever interfere in any of the events on Earth where the Earth could have been destroyed? A lot of these questions have been answered, and I'm afraid that a plot leak that got out not too long ago could be real, and I think this is bad news for Ajak. Ajak is played by Salma Hayek and is the leader of the Eternals. Now, she talks a lot during this trailer, but if you notice, we really only see her in the beginning when the Eternals first show up about 7,000 years ago, as they state in the trailer, and then on her ranch. And besides that, we don't really see her. Now, this is Marvel, and this could be to throw us off. We know that they edit their trailers differently, so we don't know everything that's going to happen in the movies. But if you take a look at all of these scenes happening in the present day, we don't see Ajak anywhere. And we do know that Richard Madden's character, Ikaris, does visit her on the farm. We see that in this trailer, and we also see his powers. Yesterday, all of the Eternals' powers, for the most part, were revealed, and Ikaris' powers are the ability of flight and to shoot beams of light from his eyes.
Superman!
The so-called light is most likely just cosmic energy, as we see him fight several Deviants in this trailer.
Looking like Homelander, too.
In half with his energy. And we see the light energy coming out of his eyes on the ranch. So it could be that the Deviants actually attack Ajak and Ikaris on the ranch, or there is always the possibility that Ikaris could actually be bad. I really hope this isn't the case, because I hope he goes on to be a prominent member of Marvel during this new phase. And I really hope Ajak doesn't die. I hope they didn't bring Salma Hayek into the MCU just to kill her off kind of early on in the movie. But it does definitely look like something is happening on her ranch where Ikaris has to use his powers. And again, we don't ever see her in the present time, so we'll have to see about that one. Just something I noticed right away off the bat. I hope Marvel's tricking us on this one, but let's get into the shot by shot. And if you love Marvel and want to stay up to date, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any video. So it starts off with Ajak riding a horse back to her ranch. It looks like she's made a decent life for herself. She has a pretty big land there, and we can see far away, next to her house, Ikaris is standing there waiting for her. Here we find out that this is really going to take place, for the most part, 5 years after the blip. She says, 5 years ago Thanos erased half of the population of the universe. And then she says, but the people of this planet brought everybody back with a snap of a finger. And I think this is actually very specific language she's using here, because Thanos erased half of the population of the entire universe, not just our very specific Earth. But she is referring to our specific people. She said the people of this planet brought everybody back. And remember, the Eternals were kind of sent to Earth to protect Earth. We know the story's going to be different in the movies, but that is their comic origin. That's why they were created by the Celestials, which we'll get into in a second. But it really does seem like Ajak is admiring the humans in this scene. Thanos, for years and years and years, conquered the universe. And remember, Thanos is actually an Eternal and a Deviant who the Eternals are going to be fighting. So they more than likely knew what he was doing in the universe. So the whole universe gets wiped away, half of it at least, and our heroes, the people of our planet, the Avengers, stepped in and returned it back to normal, snapped everybody back, showing how great humans really are. However, unfortunately, Ajak says the sudden return of the population provided the necessary energy for the Emergence to begin, in which Ajak says they only have 7 days. Now, the Emergence isn't that clearly defined, but it does seem like it's an apocalyptic event where the Deviants are going to destroy the world. Now, I do have a big theory right here about what the Emergence is actually going to do, and I do believe it's going to start to introduce mutants to the world. You see, the Eternals and the Celestials that created the Eternals are connected to the mutants. The Celestials originally came to Earth and created both of the Deviants and the Eternals. The Celestials essentially performed genetic experiments on the early humans, the very first humans. This would ultimately lead to genetic mutations that would give some humans superpowers. And I believe that we could be witnessing some sort of a combination in the Eternals of how the mutants are formed in the MCU. Like Ajak said, the snap of bringing everybody back provided the the necessary energy for the emergence to begin, and if we take a look
The
at
Emergence.
the exact moment, it looks like some type of cosmic energy is happening as they are being brought back. Perhaps this energy could awaken the latent mutant gene inside of people. This gene could have come from the Eternals being created and humans being experimented on by the Celestials. And I actually believe this is kind of hinted to when they show when the movie is coming out. It says November, but if you take a look inside of the O in November, very briefly, you can see a double helix. So it looks like it's DNA, and it quickly disappears. It's only there for a little bit. And of course, this is hinting at the DNA of the Eternals, of the Deviants, because their DNA was experimented on. It was altered by the Celestials to create them. And I believe the implications of this are going to go a lot further in the MCU, all the way to mutants being introduced. We know the mutants are coming. Kevin Feige mentioned the X-Men at San Diego Comic-Con several years ago now, and I believe that the Eternals could be a key part in how the mutants come to the MCU. But let me know what you think about this theory down below.
To the Wolverine,
now, from here in the trailer, we get sort of an origin story about the Eternals and how they came to Earth. Cersei is talking to Dane Whitman, and yesterday, in Entertainment Weekly's article that they released about the Eternals, they confirmed that Cersei and Dane
Black
Whitman
Square.
are indeed
And,
dating. But they also did confirm that Cersei and Ikaris have been dating pretty much on and off again throughout the 7,000 years, so we'll see how that works and more on that in a bit. But this is clearly right after Dane Whitman finds out about Cersei. He finds out that she is some supernatural person, and now she is explaining to him what exactly she is. She says, "We're Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago to protect Earth from the Deviants." And as she's explaining this, we get a few scenes. One is all of the Eternals sitting around one of the Celestials, apparently not moving at all, not awake, all wearing the same clothing. Now, there was a plot leak that said the Eternals could be an artificial intelligence, just a super advanced artificial intelligence. And the way that this energy from the Celestial goes inside of Ajax in this scene and awakens her, that could actually be the case. I don't necessarily think that they're robots, but I think the Celestials could have designed their bodies, created their bodies, and then this energy is sort of like a soul. Because this is the ability that the Eternals have. They have the ability to control cosmic energy. Each Eternal can control it in a different way, but that is each of theirs main ability, controlling cosmic energy. Now, this could also be some sort of a ritual that they do when they communicate with the Celestials, and the energy could be the Celestials communicating with them. We'll have to wait and see on that. But some other things that we see is their ship flying insanely close to a sun, taking no damage at all, so it's clearly made out of something insane. And it's clear that the Eternals actually come to Earth on their ship, so they weren't actually created on Earth. So I'm curious to where they were actually created. Perhaps they could be coming from Titan. If you recall, in Infinity War, Thanos said his home planet was Titan. Well, Titan is actually home planet to the Eternals. Thanos was born to two eternal parents, but he inherited a deviant gene. So in this sense, Thanos was essentially an Eternal and a deviant. So they're already referencing him a bit in this trailer, so I'm pretty sure he's going to come up a few times in this movie. We then get a shot of Ikaris' powers. Now, like I said, he can shoot cosmic light from his eyes, but he can also fly. Now, each Eternal, like I said, can control cosmic energy, but they all also have their own special, unique abilities, and this is clearly his. And I get major Superman vibes from this, which I actually really like. Now, here Dane Whitman asks a very important question that we've all actually been asking. Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos, or any war, or all of the other terrible things throughout history that have happened? In which Cersei responds, "We were instructed not to interfere in any of the events of humans unless deviants were involved." And then Dane Whitman asks, "By who?" And we see a Celestial. Now, as I mentioned in this trailer, the Celestials created the Eternals, and they also created the Deviants, at least in the comics they did. And the Celestials are cosmic gods. We saw one in Guardians of the Galaxy. We saw Esson the Searcher. And based off of the face, the 6 eyes that we have there, it kind of does look like Esson the Searcher. However, this particular Celestial is very, very red, which leads me to believe that it could be Arishem. Arishem is known as Arishem the Judge, and he's actually the leader of the Celestials, at least the Celestials on Earth. Yes, the eyes are different than his in the comics. In the comics, he has more of horizontal eyes instead of circles, but it's either Esson the Searcher or Arishem. So it's clear that the Eternals have wanted to help out. It's clear that many of them have actually taken a liking to humans and would have liked to protect them. We see some of them watching over the humans as terrible events happen, and we even see Phastos crying. But it's very clear that they can't interfere unless deviants are involved. Even though in the last trailer we learned that the Eternals actually helped humanity get started. They kind of helped civilization evolve in the beginning. They essentially created Babylon. So it looks like they kind of helped them get started and then kind of dipped. Again, Again, probably because of the Celestials' orders, but now the Deviants are coming to basically destroy the Earth, so it's time to step in again. Now, it's important to note that Dane Whitman, played by Kit Harington, in the comics is Black Knight. And I know a lot of people are really excited to see him in the Eternals. However, I do not think that he is going to become the Black Knight in this film. I think it's going to be a setup for him to appear later on in the MCU, unfortunately. But it's still exciting nonetheless. At least we know that he won't die.
The Black Knight, Marvel.
And if he does, that's a huge waste of a really, really great actor and a really great character. Now, Ikaris says that they have to find the rest of the Eternals, and Ajax says, I haven't seen some of them for centuries, and we figure out what some of them have been up to. We see Druig, and he is basically a cult leader at this point. He has the ability to manipulate people's thoughts, so essentially control minds, and we can see all of the people that he's influencing. He's basically given up on humanity and is trying a different way to kind of have everything civilized. We then see Sprite pull out a dagger, and Sprite may look like a little kid, but Sprite is just as old as everybody else, just trapped in a little kid's body. Essentially, Sprite has the ability to channel cosmic energy like all of the other Eternals, but Sprite also has the ability to levitate herself and create illusions. Sprite is often known as the trickster of the group. We then see Angelina Jolie's Thena and Don Lee's Gilgamesh, in which Angelina Jolie takes a weapon out of nothing and Gilgamesh blocks it. This is Thena's specific power. She is able to create weapons out of thin air, out of nothing. She is the warrior of the group. But Gilgamesh is the strongest of the group, and he specializes in hand-to-hand combat, which is why he simply just blocks the spear. We then see some of the Eternals together. We see Kingo, Sprite, Ikaris, and Cersei, and then of course there's Gilgamesh and Thena not in the shot, but Ajax is not here.
I thought that was a little boy.
Something and isn't dead.
Guess
we
I was
didn't hear Sprite say, if this is what the end of the world looks like, at least we have front row seats. And during this scene, we actually see some of the Eternals appear out of nowhere. Now, Sprite is the first one to appear, so this could be an illusion caused by her. Either that, or the Eternals can manipulate cosmic energy in a way that turns them invisible. Or perhaps they're even
now the walk
teleporting.
makes
But I'm
sense.
more leaning towards the fact that it could be Sprite's illusion, or they're turning invisible. From here, Phastos pulls out the ship. He is the engineer and the inventor of the Eternals group. He probably has a lot to do with the upkeeping of the ship, and then we see some of the Eternals on the ship. All of them are now essentially together, except for Ajax. We have a scene with Kingo, Phastos, Druig, and Makari. Now, Makari's ability is she is super fast, and she's also deaf, and it's really cool because this is actually going to be the first deaf actress playing a major superhero role. We can see on the ship that they have collected many artifacts over time, which we saw in the last trailer as well. Cut to Angelina Jolie saying that they've loved these people all of their lives, and when you love something, you protect it. In which, right when she says that, we conveniently see Ikaris looking at Cersei, but then another scene where Cersei is protecting Dane Whitman. As I mentioned before, yesterday an Entertainment Weekly article did confirm that over the 7,000 years, Cersei and Ikaris have been together. They've been on and off pretty much for 7,000 years, the ultimate on and off relationship. It's clear that Ikaris very much loves Cersei, but Cersei does share a love for humanity, and it is confirmed that she is going to be dating Dane Whitman in this movie, so there is definitely a love triangle here, and it looks like it's definitely going to be addressed in the film. In this scene, we actually see Cersei transform a bus into flower petals. That's because Cersei's ability is to be able to manipulate non-sentient matter, so matter that isn't alive. And apparently her manipulation goes a very long way, as she was able to turn a bus into flower petals. That's not just controlling things with your mind. This is on another level.
Reminds me of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Cersei in what looks to be the inside of the ship, where she activates it. Now from here we see a lot of action sequences of the Deviants attacking, and we actually learn who the main villain of the Eternals is. It's the Deviant Crow. He's fighting Angelina Jolie, and he seems to have overtaken her, and he says, you can't protect any of them. Crow is the general of the Deviants, and he's actually almost more of an Eternal than he is a Deviant. He actually has the ability to be able to shapeshift, making him a pretty big threat. But perhaps one of the biggest things here with Thena and Crow is that in the comics, they are actually secret lovers. In the comics, Thena and Crow actually have kids, twins, but Thena tries to keep this a secret and gives them to an infertile woman for her to raise. We obviously don't know at this point if that's going to be a storyline in the Eternals, but we'll have to wait and see. Although Crow is brushing the side of her face, and she turns her head kind of like, this has been done for a while, it used to be something, but now it's nothing, get over yourself. So this very well could be a thing in the Eternals movie. The trailer ends with some Superman scenes, and some of the Eternals at Phastos' house. Ikaris making a statement that Phastos' house must be a pretty big safe house and the table must be made out of vibranium, but Phastos says that it's from IKEA. Ha ha ha. But seriously, this movie does look pretty freaking fantastic, and I am super stoked for this, so let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Are you excited for this movie? Did this impress you? Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe for more Marvel and Eternals videos, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and for live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
So, no, I'm not excited. I just don't know what to expect. I'm kind of like, well, it's Marvel, I gotta say it, and I hope it's an absolute hit. Every comic book movie that I go to see, I want to be a hit. Every movie that I go to see, I want to be a hit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I want to... Who wants to see a bad movie? You know what I mean? Some people just think certain people just want a movie to do bad. No. Well, I will say this, depending on, like, if you see the movie and then you realize what it's doing, then you want it to, yeah, because, like, you know, movies like Last Jedi, you know, stuff like that, all the movies that are in that realm where they destroy something or really go far out of their way for a narrative and stuff like that, you're like, no, I don't want it to do well because it's ridiculous. Just give the fans and the people what they want, which is good entertainment, not pushing political narratives. Hopefully this doesn't do that. But from what I've heard already, because I never followed the Eternals or Celestials and shit in the comic book, they already have bended and twisted some things, but well, whatever. I just hope the movie's good, okay? So anyway, post comments down below, let me know what you all thought. And if you enjoyed my reaction, make sure you hit the thanks button, the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers!